Hello! It's the end of an era, the last film in the Jurassic World saga, the culmination of decades of storytelling. Capping off the tale of dinosaurs in the modern world, Jurassic World Dominion brings you locusts. Wait, what? Did I read the wrong script or something? What's going on? Jurassic World is, at best, a very confused film. It starts by showing us dinosaurs causing all sorts of bother in the modern world. Sinking boats, tipping caravans, chasing people, that sort of thing. How is the modern world dealing with these new threats? These invaders from an ancient world? That sounds like a good story to explore, so of course the film doesn't. Instead, we are introduced to giant locusts that eat people, or try to, sometimes, but not really. We're introduced to a new baddie corporation called Biosyn. Forget the other ones. Through lines, what are those? Biosyn has genetically engineered these giant locusts to eat competitors' crops and leave their own stock alone. Unfortunately, the locusts are eating so much so fast they are going to cause a global food shortage. In response, Dr. Wu, yep, he's back again, wants to kidnap a girl who is a clone of her mother and a baby raptor who is a virgin birth, in the hopes that studying their DNA will help kill the locusts. Why Biosyn doesn't have a contingency plan for their own locusts in the first place is bloody stupid, but let's not let common sense get in the way of the terrible plot. And if you're wondering why this is the plot of a Jurassic Park World film, believe me, you're not the only one. The plot leads the new guard of Ginger and Pratt and the old guard of Grant, Malcolm and Admiral Holdo to invade the baddie base. Ginger Pratt want the girl and the raptor. The golden oldies want to find evidence connecting Biosyn to the locusts. At no point did either of these groups inform the authorities about the very illegal things Biosyn was doing, but, common sense and all that. And despite these two groups arriving at the baddie base at completely different times, via completely different approaches, with completely different goals, they somehow end up meeting and escaping together. In fact, everyone just bumps into everyone else in this film. The oldies bump into the girl as they're getting their evidence and she's making her escape. The oldies and the girl bump into Ginger Pratt after the oldies crash their car in the middle of nowhere. And then the goodies bump into Dr. Wu as they're leaving the base. This last one is particularly significant because more on that in a bit. The film doesn't just break its neck trying to twist events so everyone gets to where they need to be. It also snaps itself in half, bending over backwards to make sure everyone survives their ordeals. Pratt & Co. survive a plane crash into a frozen lake. Not onto a frozen lake, into a frozen lake. Pratt also stands in front of two Carnotauruses without them trying to eat him. Grant and Holdo survive being stuck in a small room with a swarm of giant locusts that are apparently dangerous enough to tear at their skin. All of the golden oldies and the clone girl survive a car crash. After rolling over. Many times. Down a hill. Everyone avoids danger despite being in a small enclosed space with literally every dinosaur in the film in the base. And Malcolm survives a face-to-face encounter with the Giganotosaurus. A Giga what? Since when was that in the Jurassic series? Good question. Anyway, the queen of survival in this film has to be Ginger. She avoids being shot by criminals she's stolen a dinosaur from, despite being inside a cramped van at the time. She outruns a raptor on foot, only for the film to show the raptors keeping pace with speeding cars and motorbikes minutes later. She is ejected from a plane into a swarm of ravenous, murderous pterosaurs. She parachutes down into a forest filled with every dinosaur known to man that is so dangerous that people who look after the place don't travel in it. She's not eaten by multiple Dilophosauruses despite them wanting to. And she's also grabbed by the Giganotus. Blimey heck, she must have bull goat plot armor at this point. Coincidence and luck are pretty rampant in Jurassic World Dominion, but they are by no means the worst thing about the film. The rampant stupidity has to have a shoo-in for that award. Let's start with the clone girl. Dr. Wu tells the girl he needs her and the baby raptor's DNA to stop the locusts eating the world to starvation. Then the girl runs away. It's only by sheer coincidence that the goodies bump into Dr. Wu later. If not for this coincidence, the girl would have knowingly doomed the planet to starvation. This girl is either soulless or stupid. Given the film wants us to think she cares about her family, I'm inclined to think she's stupid. Luckily for her, she has competition in this race. When trying to find the girl, Ginger Pratt go with government operatives to Malta, where they encounter dinosaur smugglers, one of the few examples shown in the film of the effects dinosaurs are having on the world. The smugglers release trained raptors that attack the government operatives using the laser pointer system from Fallen Kingdom, which was absolutely not hilariously stupid at the time or now. The government operatives, who all have guns trained on the raptors, try to run away instead of, shooting the animals, and are inevitably killed as a result. Bloody hell, film. During the Malta scene, 2 large dinosaurs are accidentally released into the streets of the city. The 2 dinos end up standing in the middle of a large open square, and for some reason a bloke on his bicycle decides he absolutely, definitely needs to ride between the 2 terrible lizards. He is promptly eaten for his spectacular stupidity. I think he was related to the motorbiker from Doctor Strange. For those that don't know or missed it, in Multiverse of Madness, a bloke on a motorbike rides directly at the tentacle monster at the start of the film. He is promptly eaten by the monster and has his bike used as a weapon. I like to imagine somewhere in some afterlife these 2-wheeled halfwits are sharing their stories with each other. After leaving Malta, Ginger Pratt, along with a new pilot friend, fly to the baddie base. When they are attacked by pterosaurs and begin to crash land, Pratt ejector seats Ginger out of the plane because, in his mind, that way she's guaranteed to survive. This is done whilst completely ignoring the pterosaurs which just destroyed their plane and would certainly attack the parachuting Ginger. This is also ignoring the dinosaurs running around in the valley they are flying over, who would also try to eat Ginger. Pratt, you absolute... Pratt. But the grand prize for stupidity in Jurassic World Dominion has to go to the boss of Biosyn. What makes his stupidity most stupid is the cascading effect it has. He is the one who orders the kidnapping of the girl and the baby raptor, describing the girl as the most important piece of intellectual property in the world. He then doesn't put a guard on her or lock her into a secure room, allowing her to escape. This is bad, but it only leads to more stupid. At the time the girl runs off, the golden oldies are in the secret locust lab getting their evidence. They tell each other not to make any noises because the slightest disturbance could make all the locusts in the lab swarm. When the girl escapes, the baddie activates an alarm, which sounds, "Inside the lab, the locusts are in, causing them to swarm." Why would you have a loud blaring alarm inside a sound-sensitive area, you knuckle-dragger? But wait, it gets worse. Having discovered the oldies have stolen evidence of his misdeeds, the baddie burns the locusts in his lab to destroy the evidence they already have? This sounds stupid. It gets worse. For some reason, this hermetically sealed chamber that requires an airlock to get into, that resides inside an underground laboratory, has an air vent that leads straight out into where the dinosaurs are being kept. An air vent that the locusts can fly through. The locusts can also survive and fly whilst being on fire. This combination allows the locusts to spread throughout the valley where the dinosaurs are being kept and burn the place to the ground. This is even more stupid, but it still gets worse. Every dinosaur Biosyn captures has an implant that, in an emergency, directs the dinosaurs to head into the base proper. This leads to an epic, climactic fight between dinosaurs that the goodies have to run past as they escape. What this means is, the baddie made it so in an emergency and, supposedly in an attempt to save their lives, the dinosaurs would gather in one place where, unfettered by distance, restraints or barriers, would murder each other into a second extinction. But wait, there's more. When the golden oldies arrive at the baddie base, they are led around by the boss's second in command, his number 2 if you will. Number 2 turns out to be working against the baddie boss and helps the golden oldies get the evidence they need. This is absolutely seen on cameras which are shown to be throughout the base. After number 2 helps the oldies, the boss is shown video footage of them breaking into the secret labs. I presumed the boss knew number 2 was a part of it all, because he was being shown recordings of the golden oldies, and, logically, he would have seen number 2 helping them. When the boss didn't say anything to him, I assumed he was giving number 2 a false sense of security, tricking him into setting up his own downfall. Nope! At the end of the film, the boss is surprised to discover number 2 was working against him. Not only does this show how incredibly stupid the boss is, but not doing anything about number 2 allows him to save the golden oldies' lives later. The absolute gold standard of stupid. That actually reminds me. The dinosaurs in Jurassic World Dominion are handled poorly and carelessly. The dinosaurs are no longer integral to the plot as they were in all the other films, and are now more like obstacles to avoid. Instead, the locusts lead the way in getting the story rolling. The locusts are the big global threat. The locusts cause the clone girl and the baby raptor to be captured, to be kidnapped. The locusts are the reason the main characters invade the baddie base. The locusts themselves cause the base to be evacuated. And dealing with the locusts is the climactic point at the end of the film. By comparison, the dinosaurs are just there. Possibly because of this, many dinosaurs that appear in this film shouldn't have appeared in this film. There might have been a line that I missed, but there was a line I definitely didn't miss that was spoken quite loudly and vehemently, stating no genetic altering was taking place at the baddie base. This was a lie, of course, the locusts were a thing, but the locusts are easily deniable. The giant dinosaurs they are looking after are a bit trickier to square away. At least half a dozen new dinosaur species appear in this film that have never been seen before, including Giganotosaurus and Quetzalcoatlus, the largest land and air predators in history. As far as I can tell, these and many other new species have been added purely for the sake of, oh look, new dinosaurs. This goes hand in hand with, oh look, remember that? This doesn't exactly help with certain comparisons, which I'll get to. This leads me to an atrocious point which, especially for me, ran incredibly hollow. In Godzilla King of the Monsters, it is heavily implied that the giant monsters that are awakened during the course of the film are naturally benevolent, to an extent. The film gives us a reason to watch these giant monsters smash buildings, but ultimately provides evidence they will chill out and live peacefully at the end. Jurassic World Dominion has dinosaurs wrecking things at the very start of the film. Jurassic World Dominion has dinosaurs being all happy and peaceful at the very end with the line, "We just have to learn to live together," voiced over the top. Jurassic World Dominion provides no evidence that anything took place to have caused this sudden change in dinosaur behaviour. If anything, thanks to the voiceover, the film is making it sound like humans are the ones who need to change their ways to accommodate the dinosaurs. Are you having a laugh? The world, both the natural and human one, has long since moved on from dinosaurs. It is no longer suited to having them around. It is, in fact, unnatural for dinosaurs to exist in the modern world. Humans need to take some responsibility for their cock-ups and sort them out, not leave them to their own devices. Bloody hell, film. There are 2 more very large nails left to stick in the lid of this coffin. The Jurassic World films have found themselves in the same awkward boat as the Star Wars sequels. They are at once sequels to the original films, and incredibly iterative of them. Jurassic Park and Jurassic World are both about dinosaur safari parks whose dinosaurs break free, leading to a survival and escape situation for the humans. Lost World and Fallen Kingdom are both about evil corporations wanting to capture and transport dinosaurs to the mainland, with the good guys trying to stop them. Fallen Kingdom broke this iterativeness slightly at the end. Whereas The Lost World put the dinosaurs back where they came from, Fallen Kingdom released the dinosaurs unto the world. This change opened up a literal world of possibilities for Dominion, and yet somehow, despite being set up for big changes, there are still comparisons to make. A child lost in a dinosaur-infested land. Raptor children being returned to their parents. And a bigger, meaner dinosaur is introduced to overshadow the traditional Tyrannosaur. These comparisons to Jurassic Park 3 are not positive ones, and they only help to sink this film further into the mire it has created for itself. And now the final nail. The big bad boss of this film, who leaves this video with the I'm the Biggest Dummy award, is actually a returning character. Did you remember Dodgson? I bloody didn't. It was only at the end of the film I was given a hint. As the exciting part of the film comes to a close, Dodgson jumps into an underground tube train to escape his own base. On the way out, he grabs a spray can which should look familiar. It's the one from the very first Jurassic Park, the one with the dinosaur embryos in. This shouts loud and clear that this is meant to be the same character. The reason why this is shown is so you definitely know who this character is. Why you need to know this is because of what happens next. The train stops thanks to good guy shenanigans, and Dodgson gets out to begin walking the tunnel. Somehow, a Dilophosaurus got into the tunnel, and Dodgson runs back into the train. He then finds himself surrounded by 3 of the buggers who somehow stealthed their way into the very small compartment with him. Dodgson dies. This scene, this character, this can was meant to create some kind of connection from the start of the first film to the end of the last. It was meant to make us believe there was a plan, a contiguous story throughout all the films. All it did was make one more terrible attempt at nostalgia bait, which didn't make any bloody sense. The can was lost. Absolutely gone. There is no way he found it and got it back. If it's a different can, then I have so many questions why on earth he has it or values it. I'm also questioning how these dinosaurs got into this tunnel. It's a train tunnel, for crying out loud. If they are made properly, which you would hope they are, they should be a sealed unit. If they aren't, then these trains should be running over dinosaurs every time they run. I know why they're here. The death by Dilophosaurus is meant to harken back to the IT guy's death in the first film, making it ironic, I think. But thanks to the stupidity of this film and the casual wastefulness of potentially good stories, this nostalgic, ironic death just looks like a cold, brain-dead, tone-deaf attempt at pulling on fans' member berries. I'm sorry, but no. Hello! Again. After putting this video together, I had a brainwave. One of my complaints about Dumbinion is it tries to connect the series together with a couple of nostalgia grabs. Malcolm and the torch facing the Giganotus, the don't move line, the death scene at the end. Probably others, but I don't remember. These are all callbacks that might make you go, oh yeah, that. But beyond that, there's not a lot to them. Another complaint was the locusts causing world hunger and Biosyn not having a contingency to stop them despite this being a possibility. Having thought about it, I came up with a way of solving both problems with one solution. It's not in the film, but you can have Wu explain what went wrong with the locusts. Either Dodgson earlier in the film or the goodies later ask Wu how the locusts got out of control. Wu explains that the locusts had the same subdermal chips in them that the dinosaurs were given. The backup plan for when things went wrong was to call the locusts back to base, or kill them, one or t'other. However, the locusts bred, so the newborns were out of their control, allowing them to spread. When asked why they were allowed to breed, Wu can reply that they weren't meant to. Just like the dinosaurs in the original Jurassic Park, they were all female, and therefore shouldn't have been able to breed. You can then have Wu start to say, but somehow, and Malcolm can finish with, life found a way. Nostalgic callback, plot solution, and thematic follow-through all in one go. Oi, Disney, I'm available for writing whenever you need me. I'm cheap, very cheap. Anyway, where were we? This has been an overview of Jurassic World Dominion. It's not a bug, it's a feature. I didn't expect it to be good, but bloody hell did they outdo themselves with the awfulness. If you haven't seen it, I hope this will make for a good substitute. If you have seen it, I hope this helps you feel better about having done so. If you liked my little tirade, give us a like, a share, a subscribe, or all three. If you have thoughts on my thoughts or on the film itself, leave us a comment down below. If you have the time or the money to waste, why not give my Etsy store a look? Link in the description. Last but not least, thank you for watching.